Docking request accepted.
Good morning, New Eden. Today is June 29th, 2025, and this is the Federation Frontline Report. I'm your host, Frozen Fallout, and my co-host today is Samson. How's it going, man?
Good morning, New Eden. How y'all doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. And we have a very special guest on today, Neptune Torres. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. It just that saying that made me want to say good morning, Vietnam.
Yeah, no, we're
That's the idea.
we are stealing some nostalgia, we're
A little
in
bit.
the
I
middle.
think I designed the logo. I don't have the mug.
There was Vietnam was
bit.
basically going on at the very beginning
Vietnam,
of our podcast, and also the FFLR is we're back in the FFLR. That's where that's like why I wanted it to be FFLR, instead of. Anyways, so you have been in a lot of our fleets as of late, and it's been a lot of fun flying around with you. Can you tell us when and how the hell did you get involved in this crazy game that we know as EVE Online?
I have thought about this question because you ask this question to everybody.
It's my standard go-to.
the way that I got really involved in EVE, I played it a few times over the years, like just for a little bit, and then it was just way too complicated, so I left it and then came back. I think I did that twice, but this particular time I jumped on after a couple of years and decided to jump in a mining frigate, and I was like, right, I'm gonna mine a whole lot of precious stones in a wormhole and make lots of ISK, and got ganked by someone. And
that's about right.
Me being me, instead of rage quitting, I decided to jump back in the wormhole and talk to the person and ask them for my shit back, and he's like, hell no. And then, but from there he decided to put me under his wing, and I ended up joining their corp, and that was the Beaver mining group that made the previous couple of corps that I was in.
Oh,
and
interesting.
I stayed
So
there
they were a mining organization as well.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, but linked in to faction warfare as well. But that's how I started. I just started off just joining a mining corp and doing your dailies, and just piss farting around and hanging out with people and drinking, but nothing hardcore, no PvP. And it's such a different life to PvP, and those guys, they really don't like PvPers, they really don't like low seckers. They were like, no, I'm never going to low sec.
Calm down,
really
miner.
like low sec, And I was always curious, but I was always really, really scared. Like, I didn't want to go too far into the depths of low sec because I didn't want to lose my shit, And
yeah,
it's
what was
so
it like
funny, like how I've progressed from like where I was like a couple of months ago to being a high secker to now being most of my time running around trying to get kills in low sec. Like when I first started doing it, I was so scared and didn't want to lose my ship, and now I'm just like, kill me, I want to load, kill me. So it's it's funny. I've gone from, it's only taken a couple of months.
So you just started recently. When have you touched the game before? Was this something that's been like years long, that you've been like 10-year plus, like kind of thing, or is it something that you've just recently been kind of off and on with?
10-year plus. It's been a long time. Like the very first time I picked up the game was well over 10 years ago.
Oh, okay.
And it was my boyfriend at the time told me about it, and I jumped on it for a bit, and it was just too much, too complicated, and I had other things I wanted to do, like go down to the pub and have a couple of beers with my mates and stuff. You know, it takes up a lot of time. And the stars are aligned now because I've got to look after my dad most of the time. So I had to stop my business to look after him. So I spend most of my days playing Eve, cleaning
So
the house.
how was your
looking after
introduction or feeling about the market system as a new player, since you've only been playing, like, you know, pretty hardcore actually for the last few months? Because one of the things as a new player in the first year or two, I didn't know what the fuck a Jitto was. You know, I didn't know what the fuck the whole concept of like building a ship was. Like, that was the game. That was like a large chunk of the game for me was like, oh, I'm gonna go like build my ship today. Like, that'll be a 6-hour endeavor. I have to jump over here to get this item and then here to get this item, because, you know, I lived in middle of Galente, bumfuck, you know, Orsalert was like, that was considered the city, you know. Like, we were like, that's where the market is. And
I love it. I think it's amazing. It's the heart of the game, really. If it wasn't for that, then the game wouldn't be the game. And I love that how you've got the little groups of different systems that you can go to. Like, you've got Dodixie, which is a huge marketplace for Galente, but then you've got Jita. And then there's a huge amount of people in the game that just don't like going to Jita. I love Jita. Like, my home station is Jita. Jita's the best place to be. Jita's 4 jumps away from Tama, you know.
Jita, gross.
That's right. Because like if you've got
have alts for that,
so I do have alts for that. Is that something that you because as a Galente person, it's interesting because you bring up that Jita is your home station as a Galente. You're permanently in Galente, so you're not like jumping in and out. How do you find like getting items out of there? Is that ever been a problem for you, or is that
very easy? Never lost a ship. That's because I'm Galente and we rock. And Caldari don't have the balls to
Galente,
to come down. And I mean, we sit there and we camp most of the time at the Jita. So, you know.
That's right. You run a Jita camp.
Caldari's,
it's on our the Galente servers, is Jita camp channel.
You guys should join us.
Yeah, for sure.
I can't join you on Jita camp. I don't got no. He's gonna pay the cops for me.
Yeah, he's got.
The cops will kill me. I used to station camp on Mara though before I became full-blooded pirate. But I mean, you know, maybe I could pay off my alts or something, and because she's got less. She's only negative like 8 instead of Gwen's negative 10.
It's done in such a way where the cops are too busy doing other things, so you can just sit there and.
Oh no, Gwen.
For him, he's different.
Concord will kill me.
Well, not Concord, but the other.
No, the local police.
Yeah. So instead of
they'll kill me in Galente space and Amar space.
And any space. And he's kicked out of high sec altogether. I'm kicked out of.
Yeah, she can't dock either. She cannot dock in high sec in anything but a pod.
Yeah, so that
happened to me a couple of months ago. I was too far gone. I think I was like a 5 or almost a 6 in the negative, and I was like, you know what? I think I might do some mining today. And I decided, you know, you can do mine surfing where you go to the 0.5 systems and you chase them along and you mine all the crisp ore. But anyway, so I undocked a really expensive mining ship and it just exploded. Like, what the fuck? No, and it's because and I told my mates and they're like, nah, you gotta pay to get that fixed. So I think it was like 60 million escalator and all good.
I think I was running. I was sort of like in between trying to make money and trying to figure out a way to do it. I was running abyssals with Gwen, but I was running them in Charmer Route, which is 0.6, I think. And at one point she got -4 and I didn't realize that. And when I came out of the filament into the abyss, I got caught by the cops. I was like, what? No! Not my abyssal gear. God damn it.
And you lost all the abyssals too?
Well, it wasn't abyssal. It didn't have any abyssals, but it was made for doing abyssals. So it was like blue and green.
Still. Yeah.
Oh well.
Happens to the best of us.
Yeah, this is what
I still might have a
the,
kilo
the
somewhere.
pirate problems that that's why is kind of you know I like the whole concept of like being you get kicked out of civilized space but like from my point of view, civilized space is the most terrifying thing on Earth. Like, because there's so many people. Like, as a hauler, I am more terrified in high sec moving my items around than
That's where you get
moving
ganked,
around
man.
in
You demo.
low sec. Because
That's
in low
why you've
sec
got
I
to
know
join
what's
Hungry.
going on. Like,
You've got to join Hungry. You'll get free shipping anywhere in Eve if you join
True.
Hungry.
Yeah,
free,
but
Well,
free shipping.
I think
I've-
Hungry would actually ship for us if we wanted them to. Maybe not free, but I mean,
100% free.
Gwen is completely blacklisted from all the Black Frog, Red Frog, Green Frog, all of those people because I kill their Cynos constantly.
I also enjoy
And
that
I probably
part
killed their
of the
haulers.
game
Nice.
myself. So I like control, having my own, system of transport.
Yeah, so like
and
I
being
know
a
how you
hauler.
feel.
Like, being a
I
hauler
know
is
how
fun.
you feel.
Like,
Yeah, I
It
have
is
a
fun.
DST.
It is
y'all.
fun. Like I've got that little travel ship that I use to take not too much stuff.
well, I'm doing right now.
It's
I'm
fun
doing
because
deep
it's
space
scary.
transports,
It's fun because it's scary.
Yeah, we have two. Each of us have an alt that can go to high sec, and isn't hindered by any war declarations of any kind, and they're both DST haulers and DST cloaky. I think mine can fly a jump freighter, but I'm just not. I just don't want to get lanced, and it's not worth it. So I'm just gonna.
That's one of the things.
DST.
Is just like jump freighters and stuff like that. There is like a next level of, and then you have to have multiple alts designed around that concept. But if you get it good, you can make an insane amount of money by doing some stuff if you have like the setup and the skills to do it and everything. But I find that just deep space hauler transporting and cloak hauler transporting is just such a fulfilling on being able to get all the goods and stuff that I need.
It's annoying when I want battleships because you can only transport one at a time. So sometimes I'll ask Tacky.
I've changed that by building my own stuff. So now everything that I do is I build and I
build
live
a lot
out of Hey Dialetts, and I try and build
We can build a lot of.
I want to do more. I need to dump like a shit ton of money into Hey Dialetts.
I give you a ton
So
of.
many times I've decided I'm like I'm gonna be like right I'm gonna build stuff and sell it, and then I take maybe a week to learn stuff and start building and selling, and then I realize that I could just buy stuff and sell it, and it's much easier and I can make a lot more.
True.
Well, there's certain items.
But then I realize that it's the journey, and you have fun doing the thing anyway. It's all about what if you're having fun in the game, and if you're enjoying yourself, even if you're not making the ISK, even if you're losing ISK, as long as I'm having a good time, then I'm cool with it,
We're privateers, so the Galente pay us to be pirates.
That's one of the big things with building is that building. I mean, so the ammo you have to go and get the. You can build the ammo, which makes it pretty cheap and easy to haul as well. Like building stuff is all about lowering the amount of mineral or amount of space it needs in order to move, because the items themselves are actually smaller than the bigger item that is created out of it, because like a ship, if you compounded it down just to its base elements, is much lighter. Also, tritanium is really easy to get a hold of if you just get Rex.
Yep, I got a lot of those.
And that like cuts down on massive amounts of volume in order to do stuff. The other thing is being Galente is that we get blueprints for ships, and we get them at a discount. So if you can, I have an army of like ENIs, a couple Brutixes, like a couple of the higher stuff, but I have just an army, like an insane army of ENIs, VNIs, Comets.
That's what I should make. I should make Brutix navies.
Like
are you selling those on the market? Like, how are you finding the market with that?
So a lot of what I'm doing is much more putting it back into the corporation in my own fleet. So if I just have people fly them. But I do throw stuff back up.
Yeah, we always give away ships.
And the market is great in Hades. I mean, one of the things about it is
has gotten a lot better.
In
Yeah.
Hades.
Yeah, well,
It's got a lot better.
It's one of the
It is
systems.
good in Hades. It depends on what you're selling.
When I'm selling, I feel like I can mark. Well, one of the things is you can mark up a shit ton of items. Any of the compact
Yeah.
items are all like
Yep.
massive markups that you're able to basically you're undercutting people by marking up the item 300%. You know, and you're massively undercutting what everybody else is throwing up. And the other thing is that I also, as I play the game, and I'm not sure if you've experienced this, but once you get to a certain point in the game, 1,000,000 ISK is just nothing. So anything under
Yeah.
1,000,000 ISK doesn't matter. So if like an item says that it's a 5,000 ISK item and they're selling it for 700,000 ISK, I don't care. It's under 1,000,000 ISK. I'm gonna buy that item because it's the only item available, and that's the cheapest item. Or I have to go 3 or 4 jumps and play the game of build your ship by jumping all over the place, risk yourself. It's low sec and everything. So if you can, the more that you just kind of put into your market hub and being able to build your own market hub, now that costs a lot of money is the big problem, and that's because being new in the game. Where are you right now when it comes to ships? Do you feel like are you building towards one big ship, or it sounds though you're getting really into PvP, so or do you have like a lot of little ships that you're building or have built up that you're using to throw out there?
Little ships. Not ready to fly the big ships yet. Too scared to fly the big ships yet because I'm losing the little ships a lot. I guess it's still quite new. I'm still like a deer in headlights, so yeah.
So
I don't
you
want to
haven't
start
been doing like
flying.
missions or anything like that. That's like this. I need to be able to fly a battleship in order to achieve the highest level of content.
No.
So
I like when I was in the mining corp, I was doing more PvE, but at the moment I'm focusing more on. To be honest with you, my goal right now is to be really good at 1v1, like going out there.
That's the tough one.
Tackling
Yeah.
a ship and successfully, taking it out with the slicer.
as being
So that's my
focused
goal
on
right now.
PvP
And even bullet
and
marketing.
as being like focused on like PvP and how are you making your ISK currently?
Well, being in Hungary, we get insurance. So when we lose our ships, we get paid back what the ship's worth. Basically, I think it's like 90%, which is fantastic. So we'll go
That's
out
happy.
and we'll either make a ship or buy a ship, and if we lose it, we're going to get it back. So
Is that
I'm
on
running one of
any
those
fleet
corps.
that you go on, or is that just specific fleets?
Anywhere in Eve. It's golden. It's
Oh,
golden.
nice, yeah.
Some of these corps, they're like, oh, well, you need to start making IS because just to fund the amount of ships
Hungary's
that you're
pretty.
going to be losing. But with
they
Hungary,
already-
it's like they will fund your ships that you lose.
They're pretty rich.
So it's pretty great. It's the golden corp to be in right now. Anyone listening?
How are you feeling about the LP system? Have you found a way to make money off of faction warfare, or at this time are you being subsidized mostly just by your corporation?
So I get the full amount of LP that I can make, and you can make a bunch of ISK doing the LP, but I frankly find it really boring. I do make LP doing the sites and everything, but it reminds me a little bit of mining, and I actually prefer mining over doing the LP. But yeah, I've made a bunch of ISK selling my LP back to the corp.
Okay, so you do mainly like a
even-
buyback program.
Yeah, and I've even used the LP to get blueprints to make things, which I've started doing on the side, which takes up a whole lot of time. But right now I'm focusing on marketing, like selling stuff in Jita, and PvP, and that's how I'm
Good.
making my money. So looting, I guess you could say, like I'm a pirate, so I do a lot of looting and I do a lot of selling.
Yep. I make billions of ISK on that gate by myself. It's insane.
On what? On what gate?
When I gate camp Charmer out gate, we camped it for like 2 seconds. It was super boring, but man, do I make a lot of money off of that gate.
Really?
Yeah, he knows, but it's because I sit there all the time, like constantly, by myself, just killing people.
We should totally take over the Noir Gate in Tama. Like the
Northgate.
Snuff Nervgate, yeah. Like Snuff is like, oh yeah, well we own this gate, blah blah blah. But they're
So
hardly
fun.
ever there. And when they are there, it's only a couple of ships, and everyone's so scared of them coming in and doing their blob.
We
and
used
it takes
to.
a lot to do it. Like I
We
know
used
guys
to.
in Snuff, and they're not gonna bother with a couple of, like, if there's like 3 or 4 frigates having a bit of fun.
No, yeah, they
Something like a
won't.
couple, they're not going to bother. They're going to be like,
We used to camp
we
Nerf Gate
killed
a
a
couple of
Titan the
times.
other day. We're not going to bother with that shit. They don't care.
But if they see my name, they might drop anyway.
Yeah.
fucking Snuff. Here, I'll put that. I'm gonna put that out there now. It's a good opportunity for the fuck
Yeah.
for the fuck Snuff. Where is it? Fuck Snuff. There we go. Redeem. Got it.
So
But yeah,
say
it's a matter of hit and run, because Frozen and I will do it. Like
Yeah,
we'll see a fucking. We were just in 2 E&Is and we saw a Snuff, a Razu, or no, it might have been a Rapier sitting on one of their stations, and I was like, let's just fucking do it. And we managed to kill it before anything came through, and warp out with just our 2 E&Is. We were like,
That's
fuck you.
Yeah, that's so good.
Well, that's
I
I
baited
think
Johnny.
We should all just band together and maybe catch up once a week as a group, group of Valente pirates or whatever, and just our goal is just to fuck around with Snuff and just try and take their shit.
I baited.
Because they think their shit don't stink, right?
No, yeah, well, it does, but it doesn't. But I baited Johnny Sins Jr. Got his Enforcer once. Traded it for a Brutix Navy, but it was a really good trade, because it was like his was almost a bill and mine was like 123 million or something.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things
yeah.
actually, Caviar kind of brings this up, is that there was two fights that were 3 trillion ISK each that Snuff was involved in. One where they did like 3 trillion ISK worth of damage, and one where they took like 3 trillion worth of damage. And that's where I think that Snuff is an interesting kind of enemy, because they have they have a spy network. They have like a whole setup of like what they're how they do stuff, how they gather intel, what they're doing, what they're fighting, and they have the ability to drop trillions of ISK worth of shit on stuff. So the only campaign that I think that would work against Snuff is an annoyance campaign. But you got to get everybody on board with an annoyance campaign, is that you just go around and shoot their pocos, you shoot their structures for no other reason other than to rile them up, and you do it in cheap ass stupid shit
and they do get
that bombers, and you just constantly are forcing them to form. Is one of the if you can get, because the thing about Snuff is that Snuff has a limit on, they can drop like 500 or 1,000 if they get like backup from initiative and stuff like that, but really at the core they're like 500 people or so, like with all their alts and everything, probably even less than that. If you have thousands of people that are constantly annoying all of their structures and all of their items that they have in LowSec, it becomes an annoyance to have all these items up, that you have these. But the problem is to get thousands of people to coordinate that aren't that aren't already doing, because if you've got thousands of people to fight Snuff, then you've got thousands of people to take 0.0 or join up with one of the major coalitions, do other things in EVE, like thousands of people annoying Snuffed Out is something that I've talked to a lot of people. I mean, hell, even the Space Pope, we hung out with him a lot during FanFest, and like he was like, I fucking hate Snuff, but there's nothing you can do. Like even the Space Pope couldn't muster enough people to do a war.
You can not a war, but you can fuck with them. Like I'll fuck with them, absolutely. If I have 20 Thrashers,
they lost 3 trillion ISK just
their feathers.
Yeah. So you can.
I've seen them lose marshals and shit before.
Oh yeah,
so
and I've
possible.
Killed enforcers and shit like that of theirs with like 2 fucking stabbers and been like, okay, like, totally worth it. you know,
There's
and
a-
but that, I
there's
think
nothing
they
better feeling. There's just such a good feeling to yeet into nullsec and go for a roam and really fuck around with the nullsecers, the ones like Snuff, was it, or the Shadow Cartel or
Shadow
Atrex,
Cartel,
you know, the Horde group. You just,
that's
you just
the
go
thing
there
is that,
and
you know,
take out a whole lot of ships and then yeet back or go into a wormhole. It's such a good feeling knowing that you've really kind of. They haven't. I mean, yeah, they probably haven't lost much, but I'm sure you haven't. I'm sure that they've gotten a bit grumpy from it. Like, oh God,
Oh, yeah.
those people,
Yeah. I don't mind shitting in Snuff's Cheerios or whatever, you know, just like a quick.
well, I mean, the
know.
thing is, they're playing the bad guys of the game, just like the Goon Swarm
Yeah.
was the bad
Oh, yeah.
guys of the game until they weren't the
Yeah.
bad guys. Bob was the bad guys until they weren't the bad guys, because they don't exist anymore. But then all of a sudden there's PL, different, you know, and then it's, you know, red versus blue, you know, who, you know, just pick your fucking side type kind
No,
of
not really.
system that's kind of boiled up inside of Eve. At this point,
That's
there's
right.
always
and
like an
Eve wouldn't be
enemy.
Eve without Snuff. Without Snuff, you need to have Snuff there to make Eve. And if Snuff wasn't around, then it would
I mean, we're
probably
doing
It'd just be
be
Shadow Cartel.
boring,
You know, well, it'd just be Shadow Cartel
having
taking
it,
that
you know.
spot and kind of, you know, probably absorbing those. And if you just deleted the members, you know, and the big thing is
Then
though is
blend
that
it.
just not being the one thing you have to be really careful about is being super toxic. Is, you know, that's probably my biggest problem with some people in this game is that they would rather be super toxic about stuff instead of
that's not
actually
fun.
like just being fun about it. Like if you want to be the bad guy,
no.
know that you're the bad guy and have fun with that, you know, and
And if
shit
you
talk
wanna-
all
if you
want,
wanna-
you know.
Threaten me in game, that's fine, right? But if you threaten me outside of game, you get reported.
Mhm.
That's just
Yeah.
how it works.
Yeah, basically once you've taken this to a different level and you're starting to harass people.
Because as
you're
someone
starting
who's
to-
killed a lot of players in game, I have gotten death threats and other things.
Yeah,
So it's like,
SWAT, you know, like 'cause
SWAT,
we do
someone threatened to
streaming,
SWAT
people
me.
know, you know,
Someone threatened to
it's
SWAT
very
me.
easy
Someone
to
threatened,
tie me and
like,
Samson.
What
know.
does SWAT you mean?
SWAT.
Oh,
It's SWAT is this is like the police special
that
forces.
thing when they film it.
Yeah, so basically what happens is people will call in like a hostage situation or a bomb threat or something at your address, and then SWAT shows up at your door.
kills your
And I'm
dog.
pretty sure at least, it kills your dog, or like I'm pretty sure someone died, or at least some people got injured
Oh yeah,
from
people
this
have
because
been,
like if someone breaks down your door, especially we're in America, like if someone breaks down my door, you know, I might be inclined to shoot at them. You know what I mean? So it's like, well, now you're just gonna get shot because they're the cops. But I like when that happened, I called the local police department. They were like, yeah, we can't do anything about that, but you know, document it and everything, and make sure you report it in game. And I was like, okay. Nothing came of it, but like,
Crazy.
the shitty people are just shitty. Like,
but that's the internet's
keep it in game.
problem,
Noticed
not
with the game.
Eve's problem.
I'm not sure if you guys have noticed. You've probably noticed it too, because I'm sure you've moved around in different corporations, right? So most of the time in the game with the corps that I've been with, I've been in not in nullsec. One time I went to nullsec recently. I got invited to Atrax, and the one thing I noticed is being in, I'm not sure if it's all of nullsec, but that particular group was completely negative. It was just kind of very...
No, it's definitely not all, but it happens. And in the really large ones, you still get chunks of people that are really negative.
The thing is with the big group. So I've been part of Goon Swarm like directly, and like been, you know, part of, you know, in the capital. Of
I was part of the
world.
Imperium,
and I
can't convince Frozen that I'm not a Black Hand.
Well, yeah,
but
that's what the Black Hand.
Because I was a spy for the Imperium technically.
But in any case, the big thing is that like a lot of it is it's about becoming part of a group bigger than you. It's, you know, it's a cult personality kind of systems of like you become one, you know, it's one of us, you know, it's a whole because, and then it's the negativity is usually spewed at the enemy, you know, and so Eve Online brings out it usually, and then there's internal strife that happens and brings internal issues inside of these 0.0 groups, but a lot of them it's about how do we get people to say we instead of I. You know, like, we want to do this, not I want to do this. You know, I want the everybody to be on my team, and be part of a bigger, larger organism that is not independent. And it's fun to be part of, for sure, but one of the things I like about faction warfare, wormhole space, a lot of that, is that you're such a smaller group that you have so many enemies, you know, like, and you pack together in a different kind of way, that's much more tight-knit because there's this much smaller group of people that you're working with, and the game is much more about fun and like, what can I do in the game to have fun, rather than what can I do in the game in order to enhance my empire. You know, like, what can...
Exactly, and how much... I mean, one thing I noticed in the Atrex group, it was always like, what are you doing to make ISK? How are you going to make ISK? And then they were like, okay, well, you need to do this, and you need to do that. And it was like complete opposite of what I actually wanted to do in the game.
Yeah.
And almost instantly, I kind of felt this hum of negativity kind of coming over me, and I'm like, wow, I don't think I can stay here. This is totally not my thing. Because I like to kind of be free, you know, to roam around and go do what I want to do. I actually like being a pirate, you know. I like just jumping in a ship and yeeting into nullsec and then yeeting out again, and still being able to, it might be different for some of you, but still being able to go to Jita, you know, and do a Jita camp and sell stuff in Jita, and then go to Tama and kill ships there, and, you know, but I try and make friends with everyone that I connect with and form friendships with people mining or in industry, and I play the game that way.
Yeah, it's one of the things that's kind of nice about being, I think, in our situation of, like, I don't hate the Keldari at all. I don't hate any of my enemies. Whereas when
except
you're
for maybe
0.0...
Diana Kim, I don't know.
Well, you know, I mean, there's always individuals that are really
Who's Diana
evil.
Kim? Why do you hate them?
It's a long story.
Don't say the name. If you say it one more time, she'll reappear. No.
Witch Doctor says they're watching the interview from the battlefield. Thank you so much for the follow, Witch Doctor.
Welcome.
Hi,
I did not. I don't hate Diana Kim, but they are. They are like a. They're a very dangerous multi-boxer. Not like a big multi. More like they fly They fly Mika Firestorm and Diana Kim.
Don't listen to this, man.
Caldari,
Diana Kim sucks at this game and can't kill a Merlin with 7 Kikis. Actually, I take that back.
No, Diana Kim.
Diana Kim. No, she's really good. She's really good. It's really annoying. It's so.
Yeah, she's really good multi-boxer.
She's so good that she sucks. She needs 7 characters to take out a Merlin. That's
Gwen actually aspired her and Hein to be similar, because I can run 2
You're
tunes
a dick too.
in
Fuck you too.
Oh, I'm absolutely a dick. Yes.
You're the type
but when I
of person
caught her,
that'll tell you I'm going to do a 1v1 and.
Oh yeah, 1v1 at the sun, and then I drop an Abaddon on you in addition to my. Yeah, no, of course it's Eve. It's not a fucking 1v1. Come on, guys.
One player versus one player. How many accounts do you have?
Yeah, it still is 1v1. It's just me. It's all me on the field. It's not. No,
there was one guy when I first started joining faction warfare, and I'm sorry guys, I can't remember his name, but he's in Caldari, and everyone was like, we don't like that guy. He's terrible. And I was like, he's a trip. But everyone gets grumpy with him.
John Revenant.
No.
It's not Tricks.
Multi-boxer?
Graza.
Apparently he always takes lots of drugs. And he always takes lots of drugs, and he always kills everyone. And I was like, this guy sounds awesome. I want to meet him. I want to be just like him one day. And everyone was like,
yeah, honor it. Yeah, Nick,
you know
I'll honor it.
Most of the time, if there's someone that you really don't like, it's because they're really fucking good at the game. Except
Yeah,
for that.
absolutely. And that's one of the things that I find is I've actually made friends with the people like in local in my local in Yvangir. There's an infamous pirate. They used to be a part of Revolution. Tahoma Sakura is a very dangerous solo player. I would say similarly to myself, but way more dangerous than Gwen, I think. But in Yvangir, they're only the top third killer because of course Gwen's the top. But so like, but like there was like this. We were frenemies for a while. It was a funny story. Frozen. I don't know if I said this on the stream at some point, but they tried to pay me. Remember? Or no, they tried me to ask. They asked for me to pay them to stop
Yes.
fight.
Yep.
They were like, if you pay me $1 billion ISK, I won't send our guys after you anymore for the rest of the year. And I was like,
Yeah.
no, we're good. I like it. Let's keep going.
Keep on doing
Yeah.
this, man. Like,
Makes it interesting.
You got
and it makes you
respect out of
better
that.
at the game, you know.
Yeah, and now like I occasionally fleet with them. They don't mess up my gate camp anymore, and we get
I
killed.
remember the name. It's Gory.
Gory
Gory.
Thane.
Yes.
Oh, we've killed him a lot. He's fun
Yeah,
to
but
kill.
everyone was like, yeah, we don't like Gory, this, that, the other. And I thought, I remember, I actually have gone 1v1 against Gory. I'm like, please, can we do 1v1 together? And he was just like, blop, dead. Like,
Yeah.
again. And he's like, no.
I think it was I fought
Corvus?
goddamn Corvus. I fought Corvus 1v1 a few times, like in my Fed Navy Comet and his Condor, and it would always just end in like a stalemate, and we'd both end up flying away from each other and being like, good fight.
Oh fuck! Who's the Comet? Best Comet pilot in the game?
Lurk
Dude,
Star.
when I beat Lurk, I had T1.
It's Half-Life. It's Half-Life. It's definitely Half-Life.
I had the 1v1 that I had with Lurk where I beat him in my Comet versus his Comet, and I had T1 rigs and he had T2 rigs. I was like, this is the best day in the
Was he
entire
drunk?
fucking world, man. Well,
was that a pity?
He came in on me. I started the fight out at like 18 kilometers and like was able to like get him to change ammo and then pull in for a real fight.
No, yeah, I get it. It's like, yeah, no, I absolutely get it. Like, I don't know as if, I mean, I may have killed him once or twice, but like, I used to fly with him, so mostly we didn't shoot each other.
He's really good. Although I've switched up my fit now for I have a long point now. So.
Oh, you have a long point now. Okay.
Because everybody's AB fit. Nobody does.
Yeah, everybody's AB fit.
Although I find myself running into.
I use micro warp drive all the time. That's why I die all the time. I like party. I like being fast because I get scared. So
it's definitely it's good for kiteiness, but you can't come in on somebody with a kitey ship because the likelihood that they're sitting on the button ready to scram and web you is very high. Right, so you have to either like be inside of the Plex set up at your range already, or be playing outside the Plex at 100 kilometers and wait for people to come to you when you're playing kitey in faction warfare solo like that.
Yeah, kitey is really dangerous solo. Like it. Although I do find it to be really useful if you're letting. So there's two different ways of hunting in Eve that I'll boil it down to two different ways. If in faction warfare, is either you're going after somebody or you're waiting for somebody who's going after you. So if you're going after somebody, you're hoping that they're probably running from you or don't want to fight you. You know, like that's one of the big key things that you're doing. And in that case, it doesn't really matter how you decide. You just choose your targets based upon how you build your ship. And then you know which people to chase after. And you're always going after smaller fish anyway. So usually it doesn't, it's all designed on what you're kind of doing. But when you're sitting and waiting, AB fights is like the way that just it's so much cleaner of a that you want to brawl because you're coming after me, I'm coming after you, and if you're chasing me down and you don't want to brawl,
but
then
the
it's going to
comet
be a
is
big
also
problem for you.
really fast with an AB, and the comet has range. But to Witch Doctor's
Yep.
point, he says, or being something fast enough to get 10 kilometers away before the scram lands and drift out of scram range. That's true, but that typically requires drugs or implants, and not everybody flies with those things. Because if you come in, like your slicer, for example, if you have drugs and implants in a slicer, yeah, you're gonna be out. You'll come in and you'll be out 10, 20 kilometers before
You still
anybody
have a
can
lot of
barely lock you.
acceleration that you have to get up to as well, though. It's extremely, it's definitely a gamble. And usually I
It's
see
still a
that-
gamble.
Good at it.
It's still a gamble, sure.
Well, the one thing is, well, with the comet, I don't really care. If you get away from me,
Yeah.
I'm still going to be able to pelt the living shit out of you until you go.
Yeah. That's why I like that's why the comet's really good. It's anti-kite, and it's a scram kite as well. So you can scram kite somebody. So like if someone's blaster fit and you're in a comet that is rail fit, you can scram them and web them and stay at like 9 kilometers to 10 kilometers and keep them held down, and they can't hit you or do decent damage, at least, because they won't be able to load void and just punch you in the face. Anyway, that's a lot of
info. Yeah, so
1v1
have you been? So it's, I know that I've
numbers.
seen you in fleet a lot, and you've been doing a lot of like tackle and fleet, which is really awesome. Like that's one of the things that I find is interesting in Eve, is that it's a different kind of welcoming into the game of, yes, I want you in a fleet flying a small ship that's really fast, that can tackle really fast, because everybody else wants to fly big ships that do lots of damage. But that's not what's really useful if you can't catch anything, right? So there's all these different roles that can be kind of filled in the game. Do you find more fulfillment out of doing like these 1v1 and solo kind of stuff, or are you more into the fleet stuff?
So so when it comes to 1v1, in my head, I think I literally think I really like scramming and tackling someone down so they can't move, like a spider, I guess you could say. So I love that whole concept of tackling someone down and then the whole fleet coming in and just touring on the kill. So I want to get to the stage where I can actually get good enough to find a subject, which I can do reasonably well now.
Yeah,
At the
so that's
moment,
called
I'm finding
fencing.
the subject, I'm flying in, and I'm just like dying all the time. But I'm getting better as I go along, because each death I'm like, oh, I've got to do it this way, or I've got to do it that way. But when it comes to 1v1, I still have it in my head to tackle them down. So yeah, I don't know if that answers.
I mean, if you are fit to, like for example, if your slicer were pulse fit and had a local tank, maybe a little bit more tank than, like, not as kitey, then that's fine, right? You can probably, because pulse lasers are nasty. They're very strong up close, but when you go beam, you want to be like,
Yeah, beam you want to be kind of further away, whereas pulse you've got
yeah,
to be,
and even
gotta
for
be closer. But the closer you
tackle,
are, the more that
have a chance.
yeah.
But if you
it's
circle
definitely-
them, for example, if like they have blasters, and you're in a beam, or sorry, not a beam, a pulse slicer, you can orbit them at 500 with your prop off, and it'll be really hard for them to hit you. By comparison to, well, blasters have pretty good tracking, but still,
It sounds easy enough, but it's actually quite hard to get to get to that stage, to get close enough.
Yeah.
Most of the time, if you're getting that close to a ship and you're not experienced enough, you're being you either scrammed or you're dead already when you get that close, I've found.
yeah. Well, if you're coming at them, one of the things to keep in mind, like if you're flying towards someone straight at them to grab them, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, but if you're orbiting towards them, if you're spiraling towards them,
Yeah.
like if you click orbit 500 and you're out at 10 kilometers and
Or
you
even
turn your
better,
micro warp drive off.
manually choosing.
Or
that.
manually, yeah. If you manually
you-
choose a vector where it's like go this
But-
way and then that way, like
Yeah,
but
that's the thing. That's
before
the hard thing. So you're really far away, right?
yeah.
And then you're like, okay, orbit 500, but to go in and you don't start orbiting straight away. You've
Right,
got to
yeah,
start
you
heading in the
try-
direction of the orbit, and then you're still going to go straight in until the 500. So what you've got to do is you've got to start by orbiting them at a really, really far away distance, and then cut it down. But that takes a bit of effort too, especially if you've got lag. I'm in Australia, so it's quite laggy. So the one thing I've found is that I do the thing where you're kiting, you're kind of like moving around and clicking into space towards them, but not directly.
Yeah,
towards
manual
them.
piloting.
So, like the manual piloting, but it's tricky. It's definitely tricky, especially when you're up against someone that's so heavily tanked.
Yeah,
But
that's why I really
like it, and that's why I want to get good at it, because I want to
The
get to the point where
Fed-
I'm so good at it, and people are like, oh yeah, I can take out that ship, and I just get them. And
the Fed Navy
yeah,
Comet's
that's
really
what I
good
wanna
for that because when you're in a 1400 meter per second AB, you have some maneuverability, but you're not as fast as like a slicer. So when you click and stuff, I mean, it's but also when you're burning in an AB, your signature is much smaller, so it's harder for them to hit you while you're moving than with your massive bloom flare that you get from a micro warp drive.
Yeah.
It's a little easier to learn manual piloting, I think, with an AB.
Yeah, I would
technology.
highly suggest checking out like some sitting at zero, waiting for your target to come in, catch them with an AB type kind of combat. If you're gonna go solo. Now, if you're going if you're trying to catch something for a fleet, being a micro warp drive is key. That's the I don't want to kill you. I want to catch you. I'm just gonna catch you, and I'm gonna bring in everybody else. If you're trying to kill what you catch, it's different kind of setups, and that's the reason why I like one of the big things about like kind of being a person that pulls in fights, because one of the big things I advocate for is look for instead of chasing down people who don't want to fight, look for people who want to fight and fight them back. And that's when things get fun, is because I always find it's like fighting a bully instead of being the bully. Like that's.
I like to fight to fight the people that want to actually fight too. I like to find the fights where I've been in, where it sounds really like a cube or something, but I like being in a PvP fight where I'm up against another ship that has taken me out before, if that makes sense. It's called the so I love the interceptors, and so for example the Sentinel, there's one occasion where a Sentinel has literally taken me out, and I swear to God, they neutered me from like 30 k's away. And I had no energy left, and then the drones just finished me off. They scrammed me, and then the drones, and I'm like, what the hell? This is insane. But it's actually quite hard to do that. So.
Oh yeah, no, you've got to have your ship set
the
up
right
properly.
skills and the right setup.
Right drugs, right modules, right internet, right just everything. But yeah, I like being in the situations where keeping people guessing. It's just like not the norm. I like doing different things. I don't want to do what everyone else is doing.
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah,
that makes sense. I remember back when it was still viable,
You should
which
do
meant
Logi. Nobody does Logi.
No, I don't do Logi. Fuck that noise. I mean, technically I do myself, but the Vengeance. I used to fly the Vengeance all over and murder faction warfare bots and other players, but then I would occasionally get kited by this fit here, which is the oh man, no, that's such a cancerous looking link. Why can't I get a tiny? anyways, it's the Comet Fit, which is a rail Comet. It just it's hull tanked, but it also has a local repper. I think it's is it ancillary? I think it's ancillary.
Mhm.
Yeah, ancillary repper. And then it's got one. I wish this would really help. Overdrive injector, and then one magnetic field stabilizer, and then it's just it's
Damage
an
control as
afterburner.
well.
Yeah, damage control, afterburner, web, and a scram, and then it has 150 millimeter rail guns, and then you can have like the top slot. You can have like a newt or a nos or fireworks, whatever. That one's kind of optional, although the nos I think really helps in some fights when you get neuted.
Oh yeah.
And it's a super versatile fit, because I mean you're going up to 1435 meters a second on an afterburner, which is really fast. Yeah, sure, if you don't catch the slicer that comes in, you're not going to get it, but like if the slicer burns out and now the slicer's at range and I load spike, I can still hit out to like 40 kilometers or something. So like they're not going to be able to like sustain that. And so it's really versatile. Most people I feel like it's become more popular now, but before a while ago, people were like flying a lot of blaster fit comets, and a blaster fit comet's great, but if a
This
blaster
beats the
fit
shit
comet
out
comes
of
up with this comet, this will beat it will beat the shit out of it, because it'll just burn away from it and blow it to bits. So, and I've flown, gosh, I don't know how many comets. Let's see. I'll give you an idea once that loads. Once you get, let's see, 200, I have 292 kills in a Fed Navy Comet. Now, most of those are solo because I don't really fly comets any other way. Like if I look at the Gnosis kills, then they're solo, obviously, because I have my alt with me. But the Vengeance, I had 390 kills, and it was the same thing. I was flying it solo before they changed faction warfare to where you couldn't get it into all the plexes. Like before, it used to be able to go into a small plex and anything above that, but now you have the Navy plexes and such. So I was just hunting destroyers with that thing. It was perfect for killing destroyers. But
the Vengeance, is that a Galente ship?
No, that's a Amar assault frigate. It's a rocket. It's the Punisher hull, but it runs rockets. But the problem with it is it's very susceptible. Like it can't hold down one of those comets I was just talking about. That comet would kill it. It would take a long time. It would have to scram kite it, because I think the build that I was running, the rockets only went out to 7.5 kilometers, 7,500 meters. So as soon as you got out to 900, I couldn't hit you anymore. That was its downfall. And in addition to, they stopped letting it go into the plexes in general. But the Retri, on the other hand, that's also probably one of my favorite ships, which is the other assault frigate. The Retribution is the laser Punisher, and it can be kitey, but it's also nasty. Like the one that I fly, Joe Bain gave me the fit, and it's pulse lasers, but it can still hit out to almost 30 kilometers with Scorch. But then if you come in on me and I'm sitting on the button and I have conflag loaded, I'm doing like 300 something DPS. Like it's a lot. Like it's nasty. So like, but it can also it's also really maneuverable. Like you can make, and then you have the on the assault frigates, you have the damage the ADC, the assault damage control, as like a last ditch effort of survival, because it knocks up all of your resistances to like 90% for 10 seconds or something.
Yeah, I'm just obsessed with the Crusaders and
the Crusader.
slices. Yeah, absolutely love the Crusader. I'm not willing to let it go anytime soon. I'm just want to keep flying them and keep getting better at the ship. They are quite hard to fly though.
Yeah, I have 158 kills in a Crusader. So, but most of those were not solo. They were in fleets.
Yeah, I reckon I got a bunch of kills in the Crusader. I might have one or maybe two that are just solo. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, solo is a tough. The worm was a fun one for solo. That one was nasty. It used to rule the scout plexus. Well, they were called smalls, I think, or no, they were called scouts. No, what they were called? Were they called scouts? Or were they called something else? I don't remember what they were called. They were something.
They were novices.
Novices, yes. So like the worm used to rule the novice before they switched things around, because it was a fucking. It had the DPS
Nix is like,
of a
the
destroyer.
scouts. No, the scouts now. Novices back
Right,
then.
the scouts used to be called novices.
Yeah, and the it was a rocket and really nasty drone boat, and it had the tank of a destroyer, at least. Like you could tank it up to like 13k EHP for a frigate. That's pretty nasty for a non-assault frig.
Well, you can't do that anymore.
The worm, you can still fly it, but you just can't get it into a scout because they're all Navy.
Well, no, now
It's
they
the
just
worm's
changed it
pirate.
up. The advanced scouts are out. They have advanced scouts
Oh, yeah.
now.
Oh, they have advanced
they
scouts now.
just
Okay, well
did-
then-
just.
Well, then I gotta
updated
fucking get some worms, Frozen. I gotta get some more
No,
worms.
they're all
Yeah,
over
let's
the
have
place
a-
too.
let's
I
have
see
a- let's
advanced
have a
scouts
worm
all the
fleet.
time now.
They're a little pricey.
Totally
on the
do a
pricier
worm,
side.
but they are a bit pricey. I'd
It's
love to
like
do a
50,
Mamba fleet.
60
How cool
million
would that be?
for-
We all just flew Mambas.
Mambas, Jesus Christ, yeah.
That
I don't
was
even
the
think I've ever
first-
flown a
the
Mamba.
first- I have, yeah. It's a good looking ship. I even
I
made a
have-
skin for the Mamba. I spent so much on the skin too. And then
I've
everyone's
never
like,
flown.
dude, what are you doing flying a Mamba? I'm like, it's just
It's-
such a sexy looking ship. And they're like, well, yeah, it's too
Kisrael.
expensive and it's so many other ships that you could fly that are a lot
I have a
cheaper.
Kisrael, but it was gifted to me. That's the only reason I have a Kisrael. I've never really
Oh,
flown
yeah.
it much.
You
I
should
don't know what
fly
to
it.
do with it. I don't know what to do
Just
with
fly it.
it. A 1 billion ISK fucking battle cruiser.
Oh shit. Is it that much? It's crazy.
I think so. Because there's also blingy fit. I have a weird blingy
What are you
fit.
guys making skins? Do you guys make skins?
I made skin.
I
I made a
don't.
couple of skins because they've got that.
I'll be right back.
Anointed, the Halloween, skull face skin, and I was like, that is the best. That is a great skin. Have you delved into it at all?
Oh yeah. Like I don't want to bake a whole lot of ISK from making the skins. I can't be bothered. It seems too much like a job. But I've made a skin for the slicer. You've seen my slicer skin,
Yeah. Yeah, it looks
It's
cool.
just so. I love it. It's so cool. Like I've spent a lot of plex making the skins. I'm obsessed with making the skins. So when I get really good at flying the Crusader, I will definitely make a skin for that Crusader for sure.
Oh yeah. No, I've definitely have made a skin for the Comet. I made a skin. So what's your go-to pattern that you have?
Oh, it has to be the most shiny. So gold, the most expensive, the most dope looking gold or silver, like metallic, and pink.
Do you have any
And then-
specific
and then
patterns
skulls.
that you?
Skulls.
The skulls.
The skulls is really cool because you can. It's. I mean, I do like making really cool patterns and stuff like that. But at the moment, it is for me about the skulls. Yeah, I think there's a nice skull sun pattern as well. But yeah.
I think yeah, you have it. I've seen Frozen had a really good skull on like a Vexor or something, right? Vexor
Yeah, I've
Navy.
got a couple different skull things. I had one commissioned as well for the.
I need to, but
I made
Oh, world.
for the Merlin. I made Godrin. You guys know Godrin. He's such a good PvPer. But I made him a dope skin for his Merlin. It was so much plex, but it's like gold and pink, and it's got this like the front of it is like a skull. So when he's flying around, he's like a little spider skull head.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah, the skin's
Yeah.
really freaking cool. I need to. I have a lot of, not a lot, but I definitely have a good amount of materials.
Yeah, I've got shitloads because when I was in the Beaver Mining Corp, they they were totally against making the skins. It was just they
So
thought it was just way too expensive. So I always got all of the skin stuff.
Yeah,
So I just have a
nice.
truck, and everyone seems to like to give it to me. So I have a never-ending amount of that stuff to
Sequencers.
make skins with
Yeah.
sequences and stuff. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. The only thing I don't like is that you can't. You can't easily share the skin that you've made with
Yeah.
people in the game. Like you've only got 5 slots, but even when you've got those 5 slave slots, it's really you can't like drag and drop. So for you to actually share the skin that you've made, you've either got to be flying in space next to them and they click on your ship, or you take a screenshot and then send it to them that way in Discord. So whoever designed the skin making thing didn't actually think about the sharing mechanism.
Yeah, that's definitely.
They just thought about how much money they can make from it.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Well, you
Which
can
is
share
fine.
it by selling
I
it
reckon
on the
they
market.
could make a hell lot more. Yeah,
Yeah.
I reckon they could make a lot if you could sell it on the market for ISK. Like just go on the market and actually sell it on the market. That'd be cool.
Yeah, having that whole different interface definitely changes like the ability to the accessibility of it. Like there's less people that are going to be checking out that market for sure. I'm surprised at how little there are of skins actually. When I go check out the skin market actually, I would expect a lot more skulls, like skulls all around. Like why wouldn't
Yeah.
everybody have a skull for sale? But yeah, so one of the things that I want to make sure that we get time for is if you have any shout outs, any corporations, members, people, you know, your mom and dad that I'm sure is totally watching this, you know.
Yeah, no, just obviously I've said the corp that I'm in, which is Hungry. So big shout out to the corp that I'm in. If anyone's new to the game, join the corp, join the Hungry Corp. I will take you under my wing and I'll teach you what I know, and you're guaranteed to have fun. It's free shipping, no tax. Just come on board. You're going to have a good time. No one's going to force you to do anything in this corp. So out of all the corps I've been in, this is the best one. And drink quaif.
Yeah, drink quaif. Yeah, definitely. So before we wrap up things, is there anything that we haven't touched that you feel really passionate about in EVE, or is there any last minute projects or anything that you're working on or anything that you want to do in EVE? I mean, I would think one thing that is going to be happening right now is that we're going to be jumping over to a little Crusader fleet, I believe, right? That you wanted to take out?
Or Slicer,
Or
yeah.
Slicer.
Yeah, so Slicer, there's going to be Slicers and Crusaders and Comets available in Tama. So we'll go for a bit of a roam and then maybe even camp the Noir Gate in Tama or Nerve Gate. But yeah, nothing really. I mean, I think I've already said what I wanted to say. Let's all band together and ruffle up the feathers of Snuff and have a good time, you know.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on to the show today. This has been really awesome.
Yes, thank you very much.
And I
It's
look
been a lot of
forward
fun.
to jumping into your fleet and seeing you out there carving a new history into EVE of badass, camping of Tama. Let's do it.
Yep. Nice to meet you guys. I'll see you over there.
Yeah.
And then before we go, we're just going to do a little commercial from our sponsors, EVE Guru. If you want to get some really cool, good advice on how to make tons and tons of money on the marketing, which is something we talked about in the beginning of this game, which makes EVE super unique, is that there isn't just one auction board for you to go to and just everybody competes in one market. There's billions or thousands of markets, thousands of different items for sale, thousands of different ways to manipulate the market to make an insane amount of money off of it in different areas, and how you want to do that is through EVE Guru. So go ahead, check that on out.
EVE is hard. Everyone is out for themselves. You try mining, manufacturing, trading, but with little to moderate success. No one wants to give up their secrets. No one wants you to win. But that won't stop you. You just need the right partner. someone to give you the right answer every minute of every day. A tool developed by Eve University professors for the community. A tool that generates overwhelming value. A community that helps each other. Let me ask you a question. Do you want to be a trillionaire? Eve is hard. Everyone is out for themselves. You try mining, manufacturing, trading, but with little to moderate success. No one wants to give up their secrets. No one wants you to win. But that won't stop you. You just need the right partner. Someone to give you the right answer every minute of every day. A tool developed by Eve University professors for the community. A tool that generates overwhelming value. A community that helps each other. Let me ask you a question. Do you want to be a trillionaire?